I feel like there are some games that, while they can be played in single player, make a lot more sense in co-op mode, such as Don't Starve, Left 4 Dead, that stupid Asterix game I played with my brother a while ago, and for me, The Return of the King. I think it makes sense, right? Like, the characters in the game go around as little groups fighting enemies, so it only makes sense that you'd want that same feeling from the game. So for this game, I played with my housemate Mira.
Can you hear me?
Who also played Return of the King when she was young. Feel free to like and subscribe. We also played this together on Twitch, so feel free to give me a follow there to check out more stuff I play in the future. You know, I don't think either of us ever managed to finish the game when we were young, so let's see how we do this time on our journey into Middle-earth. The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King was developed and published by EA for the PC and PS2 in 2003, based off the film of the same name, but interestingly was not an adaptation of the book series, as the video game rights to Tolkien's direct work was held by a different studio who made, Yeah, and boy does this game want you to know it's licensed from the film, with endless cutscenes showing cinematic clips, music lifted directly from the film series, photos of the characters, interviews with the cast and crew, drawings, promo photos. I'm surprised they didn't just slap the film poster on the box art and call it a day, to be honest. The game begins with a super long cutscene that I couldn't seem to skip, great, which transitions gracefully into video game graphics before dropping you straight into the action at Helm's Deep, where you play as Gandalf in a tutorial level. Wow, this is intense for a first level. Return of the King, much like its predecessor, is a hack and slash action game, a genre that I think suits it pretty well. You have your basic attack, a fierce attack to break shields, parry, ranged attack, a stabby killing move to finish off fallen foes, good stuff. The first level is pretty damn impressive, with seemingly masses of enemies, explosions and particle effects, nice lighting, and some great set pieces and cinematic moments. You can also interact with certain things in the level, such as climbing up ladders, setting off projectiles, and throwing flaming hot spears at enemies. At the bottom of your display you have your health meter, the number of arrows you hold, a cute little picture, an experience point meter, where you level up when you fill it all the way up, and a skill meter that increases with the more enemies you kill. When you kill an enemy, you are given a skill rating from fair, good, excellent, and perfect, with each one rewarding you with more XP. Avoiding getting hit, and using a variety of methods to send off enemies, avoids your skill meter dropping back down, and if the meter reaches all the way around, you go into perfect mode for a brief time, where your attacks increase in strength, and every kill is a perfect kill, maximizing XP. At the end of each level, your kills are totted up, and you're given an overall mission rating. Fair? Is that a joke? You then get to purchase upgrades for your characters, with more exciting and powerful upgrades available at higher levels. Upgrades include more powerful arrows, increased health, and one that lets you reach perfect mode faster, which we didn't buy for ages as we're dumb and didn't realise how the rating system worked to start with, lol. I don't think we're ever going to get to perfect mode. There are also loads of combos, with special effects including breaking down shields more easily and instantly dispatching enemies, but to be honest, we were pretty bad and struggled to get combos to work a lot of the time. X triangle! Probably because we were too busy being beaten to death. For some upgrades you get to purchase for the whole fellowship, which is a no-brainer, as sometimes they're less than double the cost of buying it for one character, and future characters can use the upgrades when they reach the relevant level. Lol, look at the way they all twirl and spin around. Anyway, reaching the main menu, we boot up co-op mode, where obviously we're too pro gamer 360 no scope for easy mode, and pathetic rubbish only played Sims 4 for hard mode. We're then presented with the missions in the game, which are split into 3 paths: the path of the wizard, the king, and the hobbits. Initially we followed the path of the king, where me and Mira both wanted to play as Legolas, so we flipped a coin and I won, hehehe. So she settled for Aragorn because, as if anyone wanted to be Gimli, no offense. We join the trio as they enter the paths of the dead, walking through spooky foggy pits and fighting the army of the dead. It serves as a good first proper level, where nothing is too unexpected, and enemies that are reasonably simple and easy to dispatch. In co-op mode, if one of you dies, they respawn after 10 seconds, but after that, if either of you die, you have to start the whole mission all over again. Yay! There are also these kind of mini boss things every now and then, who are a bit tougher than normal enemies and have a health bar, and sometimes can be invulnerable to arrows, which is not cool. You think I spent all this money on arrows to not be able to use them? Eventually we make it to the King of the Dead, where Aragorn must battle with the King of the Dead to convince him to join their side. The boss battle was pretty tough. Trying to work out the optimal way of wearing down his health took a while, but we got the hang of it eventually, where our favourite method was to have the person he was focused on parry, and the other perform some nice Orcua combo attacks. God, you know he has bad breath. Look at those teeth. Dusty. You switch between battling him and taking on more hordes of the undead, and every now and then he fires his disgusting smelly neurotoxin-filled breath in your direction that kills instantly. But thankfully these big boulders protect you for a bit. Rinse and repeat until the old fart finally gives in, when the paths of the dead start caving in, and the trio are forced to escape in a nice old cinematic running sequence, stopping every now and then to defeat more undead undead monsters, of course. Ooh, wait, I thought the plot is there on our side now? Heading onwards to Minas Tirith, the trio joined the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, where you are tasked with taking down a crowd of Easterlings. God, I love their trendy outfits and helmets. Before taking down some Oliphants, before they crush Merry and Erwin to death, and then shooting down the fell beast the Witch King of Angmar rides on, allowing Erwin to defeat the Witch King in a cutscene that rivals that of the film. That was sarcastic, by the way.
You look upon a woman!
You look upon a woman! That was amazing. That was the best moment in cinematic history.
Agreed. The Army of the Dead finally shows up, thanks for nothing, and we move over to the Path of the Wizard, where we still just played as Legolas and Aragorn, because as if we were going to change at that point. This level continues on from the events in Helm's Deep, where the forces of evil retreat into Fangorn Forest. The Ents are super pissed that these gross creatures are scuttling around their feet, and so they join in the battle to take down Saruman. We run around the forest, slaying orcs, blowing up war towers, avoiding getting crushed to death by Ents. Hey, we're on your side! Before we help out a poor little Ent who's trying to pull down the supports to a dam while getting attacked by orcs. Leave Enty alone! The dam breaks, and Isengard is flooded, leaving Saruman trapped. Ha! Loser! We then head over to Minas Tirith to help defend the city from the impending army, who have started putting up ladders to climb up. Do you have planning permission to put a ladder there? I don't think so. This game is, it's not great at explaining the task you have to do, or what the random interfaces mean. Like, here we have a mini-map of the level and some kind of meter, but it took us a while to work out that the red markers are for ladders, and that you have to keep the red meter down by defeating enemies. I know we're dumb, but you know, still. Heading further into the city, the guards fail to hold back the advancing army, and the defenseless citizens of the city only just now decide to head for safety. Like, you had so much time. In this mission, you have to help 200 citizens get to safety. Why do they look like they're dressed up as nuns? Which is pretty damn hard, and we were stuck on this level for about 45 minutes. It was this level where a lot of the flaws of this game kind of came across. We found it pretty hard to aim at a specific enemy, especially here when we were trying to shoot down these trolls and not waste all our arrows on these stupid little grunts. Legolas, you're supposed to be good at aiming, that's your thing. The camera in co-op mode can really suck. It's pretty tight and not great for having two people trying to do different things at the same time. Like, fair enough having to walk with each other when you're traveling along further into the level, but in a mission like this, it would have been really useful if we could split apart at least a little bit to take on enemies in both sides. Also, having so many enemies on screen can sometimes make it quite hard to see your character, even with the little player marker, mostly because I forgot what number I was and I'm really dumb. However, having that many enemies is definitely impressive, something that this game excels at. It really feels like you're part of these massive battles, especially with the fantastic landscapes and buildings, and some dramatic environmental effects like explosions or crumbling structures. The sound effects are great, and pretty much as you would expect. THX certified, ooh! And as I said before, the music is taken from the film, really adding to the cinematic feel they were going for here. Obviously I can't play it in this video. New Line Cinema, please. Some of the character models can be a bit funky. Oh, he's ugly! But when you're in the game itself, it hardly matters how ugly you are. The game's colour palette is a bit one note and flat, with a lot of greys and browns, but you know, hey, that's basically what the film had, and it matches that perfectly, so. Finally getting enough pathetic civilians to safety, we move on to where the Path of the Wizard meets the Path of the King, the Black Gate. Ugh. Well, if you thought rescuing 200 peasants was hard, just wait till you play this level, baby. To start with, we have a 2-on-1 fight with the Mouth of Sauron. Interesting that he shows up in the game when he's only in the extended version of the film, which proved to be pretty hard. His powerful attacks were pretty devastating, and knocked us down for a good while. Also, all these other soldiers just standing about, it's like this is a school playground fight with everyone just egging us on. Like you could try helping. Taking him down, the Black Gate opens, and we have a proper battle on our hands. To win, we have to defeat 6 of the ugly mini-bosses, while also protecting Gimli and Gandalf when necessary. Aren't they capable of looking after themselves? Like, Gandalf is a wizard. God, this level took so long. Like, almost an hour.
I never want to play this game ever again.
It was pretty hard to take out the annoying archers in the back because of the poor aiming, as I mentioned before, but eventually we made it, when a bunch of Nazguls arrived. No effing thank you. But thankfully, they were vulnerable to our arrows, which made the whole thing a lot easier, and they were piss easy to take down. Ugh, with that travesty of a mission over, we now go on to the Path of the Hobbits, where Gollum leads Sam, Frodo, and Merry? That's canon, right? Away through Osgiliath, where in the part higher up, the Nazgul on the Fell Beast can capture Frodo if you stay exposed for too long. Not that we realised that to start off with, because, you know, the game doesn't tell you what any of these meters are for, but we found out soon enough. The group escapes into the sewers, and we rejoin them as they approach Shelob's lair, where there are some cute environmental interactions, like when you get to burn through spider webs and part masses of of baby spiders like Moses parting the Red Sea. As well as orcs, there are some larger spiders to kill off to add some variety, although they sometimes cause some trouble when there was a group of them at once. Making it through to the Queen herself, she wraps up Frodo nice and tight before the pair of hobbits take her on, and boy can she move. Shelob proved to be a pretty challenging boss, sprinting around the arena and never showing us her abdomen.
Put your abdomen into it.
Also, this bit where she just sprints around, unfair in my opinion. How the hell am I meant to avoid that?
How are we supposed to do that?
Eventually slaying her, Sam and Merry head through Cirith Ungol to rescue Frodo from the tower, where orcs and Uruk-hai have started fighting amongst themselves. Wow, the invisibility cloaks we just bought from the store are perfect here. Bye bitches! Killing 80 foes, the hobbits cause havoc and mass destruction before taking on a mini-boss to rescue Frodo. While someone just runs off with his t-shirt like a security shoplifter, the pair then head to Mount Doom, leaving Merry behind. Sorry babe, can't come with us, bye! An insane golem bites off Frodo's finger, and it's up to the hobbits to send him to his demise. For some reason, the texture on the rock here just didn't load, whatever. And also, we completely forgot that circle does a push move. Imagine all those times it would have come handy during the game. Jesus. To injure Gollum, you can't just attack him with your swords or arrows for some reason, but instead you have to push him towards the edge, shove him off, then stab him in the head.
And
Okay, and then stab, stab, stab! Rinse and repeat with a few boulders and explosions for fun, and the ring is no more. And that's the game, baby. There are some extras, including lots of weird video interviews, and also if you level up and complete the game with more characters, you get more unlockables. But yeah, I think we've seen enough at this point. Honestly, a pretty great game. I can only dream of being good at it, and don't even get me started on my complete inability to perform combos. But nevertheless, we had a great time. Some of the levels and bosses were a good challenge, whereas some were a bit on the ridiculous side. I dread to think what hard difficulty is like, honestly. But with some great set pieces, large battle scenes, and impressive environmental effects, it's a game that aims for, if not quite achieving, the majesty and awe of the films. I still can't believe how long we were stuck at the Black Gate for. Like an hour, seriously? We're probably going to end up playing other games together on my Twitch in the future. For some reason we've decided to play horror games. Literally, do we hate ourselves? But yeah, give me a follow on Twitch and some of my social medias so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
I'm hideous.
That's not him.
I'm fucking disgusting.
I'm sorry, but who is that? Ah!
Let me run! Let me run!
No!
Oh my God. So true. If the meter's not red, I don't care where he is.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. Okay.